Top story this Newsday, former nurse Roger Dean has been sentenced to life in jail over the murder of 11 elderly nursing home residents who died in a fire that he started in November 2011. The 37-year-old made no reaction as Justice Megan Latham handed down the sentence in the Supreme Court in Sydney. Justice Latham said the pain and terror experienced by all of the victims must have been horrific. Here's some of what relatives of the victims have had to say in the last half hour from outside the court.
I can finally breathe again. It's been nearly 2 years and holding our breath, and now all this is over with and never to be released. Oh, life, wonderful. And I hope he suffers as much in jail as my mother suffered the last 4 days of her life, which was horrendous. So, and we're all smiling and we're all very grateful for the legal team, for the police, for Mark. He was wonderful. What else can you say? Our loss is still there, will always be there. But to know that justice has been done, it's wonderful to see and it's wonderful to feel.
What was
Thank
your mother
you.
like? What was your mother like?
She was a very gentle, loving, some very strict in a way, and she could give you a good whack when you needed it. But her and I were very close. We shared Dad's death, and we lived together for the last 25 years until I had to put her in a nursing home. So we were very close.
Ellie, can you just describe for us the moment up there when you heard the word life?
Well, before that, I stopped breathing, and all of a sudden, I smiled. For the first time, a genuine smile to think, relief, yes. He won't do that to anybody else in the community. I don't care what he does to himself or to whatever happens in prison with him, but we know that he cannot come out and do that kind of thing ever again and to commit crime in the community. It was a great relief to us to hear life.
Sorry, he didn't acknowledge anyone in the gallery at all.
No.
Do you think he realises how many people he's affected doing this?
I think he did get that idea when we did the impact statements, because that was extremely emotional for everybody involved. And I don't care. Really, if I have to worry about him, I'm another victim, and I don't care what he thinks.
Do you think he's gutless?
Look, when you involve vulnerable people there, and to do that, knowing that they can't get out of bed, that they can't escape, and the doors are locked because they don't have the code to get out. Yeah, I think so too. And fortunately, with help from other people, that he actually said he was guilty, which was a great relief to us. But yeah.
What now for you, Ellie?
Pardon?
What now for you and for the other families?
Well, we'll miss Mum. In 10 days' time, it's her birthday. So that's another grieving process we've got to go through.
Is this closure for you today?
You'll never get closure. You always miss that person. But we can carry on thinking justice has been done for the people. Not for us, for the people that died. Yeah. Yeah. And as you can hear...
He'll cop it, and he'll cop it bad. Mate, what he done to my mum and those lovely people, that they didn't deserve to die in this fire because of that son of a mongrel. Mate, let me tell you something. We only could get our hands on ourselves with flaming showing my finger too. I bought a box of matches with me to light him up, but unfortunately I didn't have the chance. But let me tell you something, guys. Mate, he'll cop his bag.
What's your message to Roger Dean?
To Roger Dean, mate, the only thing he's lucky I didn't get my hands on him. Put it that way.
Could you just tell us a little bit about your mum, who she was?
My mum was a Manuela cashier. She passed away 2.5 months after the fire because she was across the room in room 6 where he lit the fire, and then unfortunately in 2.5 months she was in and out of Westmead Hospital and Auburn with bad infections. We can imagine what the smoke inhalation, the poison toxic done to her inside her body. The nurses at the Auburn Hospital never ever seen an infection that were bad in a person's body. That's how bad the infection was.
What was it like seeing Roger Dean today, seeing his face?
Well, I've seen his face before, and mate, it taught me one thing. He's a son of a bitch.
Could you tell us your name, sir, and just spell it?
My name is Paul Cashier, spelled C-A-C-H-I-A.
That was Paul Cashier there speaking outside the court. Let's go to Sydney reporter Cameron Price, who's been following this case. And Cameron, we've heard there from relatives of the victims. What was the reaction like from Roger Dean?
Good afternoon, Selena. Well, there was no reaction. He spent the entire sentence facing away from the packed gallery. More than 100 family and friends gathered with photos of the loved ones that they lost pinned to their chest. And he ignored them essentially throughout the sentence, facing the judge, facing away from the gallery. And even when the decision was read out, when he stood up to receive his life sentence, he simply looked directly at the floor. There was a difficult moment just before that sentence was read out, when the judge read out the names of the 11 victims. Many tears that came from the gallery, and then just moments later when the decision of life without parole was read out, there were cheers that went through the gallery and applause. And at the moment, many of the families remain here at the forecourt at the Supreme Court, gathered, talking to the detectives who worked on the case, and just living, recognising the moment. And an overwhelming feeling here seems to be that of relief. Selena.
Cameron Price, thank you, and we'll talk to you again later on Newsday.